Hello and welcome to Workshop 3 video and summation of Workshop 2. First of all, loved reading through your responses to 12 essentials. Some of you actually came up with your own essentials, which was really wonderful because the goal is to begin to see what for your specific ministry setting is uniquely essential for you. And some of those might unfold as we go forward in the course. So that was wonderful to see some of you who read through Keeley and said, okay, yes, some of his work for me, but some of these others are really more essential for me. Or you took his 12 and you really morphed them and talked about them through your window that relates to your context. So all of that was really, really good. Some of you pretty much just kept to his. Not sure if that was not a clear understanding of what to do, or you just thought, yeah, no, his are good, whichever. But what I said to a few of you, not all, but I think it'd be really helpful to keep your 12, create a list. I think one or two of you actually created a chart, which was awesome. So create the list of the 12 essentials and whatever your current rating system is. That will be a wonderful framework to start from. And then a year from now, go back and look at those again and say, are those still the same essentials or have my essentials changed? And how are we doing at these essentials? You know, perhaps some of the essentials you conquer, you know, and you say, yes, we are scoring 1 out of 5. We are hitting all 5s every time. Well, then that might be an indication that you need to adjust the essential to broaden it. Obviously, they're still essential, but now maybe we can get our people to go deeper, or we can have a little bit more intentionality in something, or a little bit of a different direction. Anyway, I think those serve as a great starting point and framework for your conversation. I also think that they will be a helpful thing that after you're done developing your strategic response for transformational teaching, to go back and look at. So that chart might be something that's helpful in the appendix of your strategic paper that you're starting this week with Workshop 3. So this week we're beginning the actual portfolio that you're putting together. Now, because of that, there might be some latitude in terms of what the format looks like for the paper you're submitting. So it might not be the typical traditional APA standard paper, but you might say, you know, this portfolio that I'm building, and section 1 is analyze my students, right? That's chapter 1 in it. You might come up with some very creative means for demonstrating that and putting it all together in like book or booklet form. Feel free to have some freedom in that. Obviously, you still are going to have to include the proper citations and references, and using outside sources can't be purely just reflective. But begin to think in terms of, what do I want this portfolio of transformational teaching to look like for me in the end? And if it's helpful to start with a blank shell and begin dropping in the chapters as we go, feel free to do that. If it's easier to just write papers like you've always done and submit them and wait till week 8 and put them all together into something else, that's fine too. So whatever approach is best for you, feel free to do that. And if you have questions or concerns about it, feel free to send me an email and we can have a conversation about it. But again, this week, analyze, very excited. I'm sure you're already digging in, looking at who are you as a teacher, analyzing your approach to teaching, your preferences in teaching, your strengths in teaching, and some of your weak spots in teaching, right? We tend to lean into the things that are in our comfort zones and tend to avoid the things that we're not really comfortable with. So just recognizing that and being aware of it is what is part of the analyze of you. So that's a discussion forum. Then analyze your room. Now, it might be a literal room, like I'm sitting in my kitchen. It might be a literal room, or it might be a room that moves, right? You go from house to house, and every week we're in a different house, or we go to coffee shops, or, you know, it's nice outside, so we're going to go to the park, whatever the context is. So it might be a literal room, or it might be a virtual room. I don't recall if any of you have your transformational teaching is all online, like this course, but that's also a possibility. So however you define room, right? You might have to put it in quotation marks. However you define room, I want you to analyze what is the room like, and think in terms of all of your senses. What do you see in the room? What do you hear in the room? What do you smell in the room? That's a biggie. What do you touch in the room? What are, like the chairs and the tables and the carpet, or is it, vinyl, all of that stuff. What is the temperature like in the room? What is the ethos of the room? So all of those things, think in terms of analyzing the environment, analyzing the room. And then, of course, analyzing your student. And that's supposed to be at least 2 to 3 pages. If you go over, that's fine. If you've had me before, I'm not like a page Nazi. I don't really care if you go more than 3, 4, 5 pages. Don't give me 27, but if you got to give me more than 2 or 3, that's fine. You can use bullet points, so don't feel like you have to write it all out in a paragraph form. You might want to use bullet points. So you might say personalities present in the room, and then you talk about there are extroverts, there are introverts, there are thinkers, there are feeling people, there are judging, there are perceiving, the MBTI, if you use that as yourself. And you might use bullet points and describe. Now, don't just list those. Describe to me what the introverts in the room are like. Who are they? Who are they? Do you only have one? Do you have a bunch? So don't. Remember, I know the personalities. I know developmental theory. I know all of that. You're not reteaching that. What you're doing is identifying in terms of your room. So, in my room, these are present. These are how they function and exhibit themselves in my room. And these are the ways that I have come to respond to them. Now, don't get into teaching methodology yet. So hold back, all right? Because we're going to get to teaching methodology based on who's in the room. We're not there yet. So we're just starting with who am I, what's my room like, and what are the students like that are in my room. All right, here we go.